In today's video, I'm going to show you how I moved this 3-gang switch box with all these wires to the opposite side of the wall while dealing with obstructions and combined it with another switch into a super huge 4-gang switch box. Coming up.
So the situation is we are going to be putting cabinets here and putting a permanent fireplace and moving the TV over. We're going to be redoing this whole area. But the bottom line is there's going to be a cabinet here, a bookcase. So with these switches, we had two options. One was to cut the back of the bookcase and have the switches in the bookcase. That's not so, you don't really want to have to put your hands around stuff. So we want to move this switch box. And there's obviously 3 switches here that work. 2 of them work a fan, the other one works an outlet in the room for a lamp. Now, when you're moving a switch box, it can be complicated. One thing I do know is that this house is on a slab, which is a good thing because I know the wires come down from the top. They're not going to come up from the bottom. So that's a good thing. If I wanted to move this switch box anywhere in the house, I would do it in the attic if I had to. But I do have an easier alternative. Right on the opposite side of this wall, there's another switch right here. So what I'm going to do is actually take these 3 and combine them with this and put a 4-way box here. There'll be 4 switches in a row. These are in the same stud bay right here, so it should be relatively easy to combine these 2. Now, if I couldn't do that, and I wanted to put them over here, or I wanted to put them someplace else, I could do it through the attic. I would have to pull the wires up through the wall, put a junction box up in the attic, and run new wires to wherever the switches are, because those wires probably wouldn't be long enough. But in this situation, I'm just basically flipping it to the other side of the wall. They should be long enough. But you have to remember, you don't put any kind of junction in the wall. You never splice wires in the wall, and you never cover a junction box permanently with furniture, built-in furniture, or with wallboard. You have to be able to get at anywhere there's a junction, because they could fail over time and you have to repair them. All right, even though we have the breaker off, I always like to use my non-contact voltage tester and just make sure that everything in the box is dead. And it appears as if it is. All right, everything is dead. Now I have a 3-way switch over here that I assume that one probably goes to the outlet. This is the fan switch, and this one is probably the light by the fan. That's a dimmer. All right, the electrician that wired this house, not only did they not use the screws, they used the press-in connectors on the back, and these wires are sticking out really kind of far, but they didn't tighten these screws. It's always a good idea to tighten the screws if you're not going to use them. Any unused screws, tighten them in. And also, avoid press-in connectors. They're a pain in the neck to get out. You got to have a really skinny screwdriver, and you got to push them in to release there's like a clip in there that grabs on to the wire. There. Many electricians comment that they run into a lot of electrical problems because of those pressing connectors. So I don't use them. I always use the screws. That's what I'm going to do when I move it over to the other side. All right, I got all the wires out of the switches finally. And the next most important thing to do is to actually label them to what they go to. Now these are just the 3 hot wires. They're all connected to this big junction here under that wire nut. But these 2, the red one goes to the light, the black one goes to the fan. And then the other red and black, these are for the 3-way circuit for the outlet. So I marked on here that the black is going to be on this side, the red is on that side, and power will come into this black screw here. That's just the way 3-way circuits work. And I also marked it that the switch goes up there. That way it's in the same orientation it was, and they'll be used to it, so it doesn't mess them up. Now I just have to unwind all of these wires and get them out of here. All right, I finally got all the wires unwound and everything is separated, so this will be really easy for me to pull them through from the box. And when you do this, hopefully you're not dealing with 3 separate switches with this many wires, but you never know. So on this side, I am going to remove this box because I want to put the 4-gang box as close to the edge as possible, right where this one is. So that one's going to come out. But this, you can see that light is on a different circuit, so I'm going to have to go and turn off the other breaker for this one. All right, so here you can see this is the one that was on from the family room, and this is going to be the bedroom. So now that's off. All right, on this side, I have removed the switch and took all the wires off. And what I've done is I've just marked those two with blue tape, nothing written on them. And I know these are the ones that go to that switch that controls the light up there. All right, now this is a separate circuit from the other side. So I've got a trick that I'll show you later to prevent somebody from having a problem with that. All right, at this point, I'm going to put the wires in the box to get them out of the way. All right, now what I need to do is figure out where I'm going to put this box. And I'm going to make sure that I cover the old hole. And I'm just going to make sure that it is level as well. And now I'm going to mark the outline of this box. But the box itself, not these tabs. These tabs actually stay on the outside of the sheetrock. Now there are multiple ways to cut out sheetrock. You can use power tools or you can use hand tools. This is a keyhole saw. It's very popular. You can see this was probably cut out with a keyhole saw. But I'm going to use a utility knife. It takes a little bit longer, but it makes less of a mess, and there's less risk of me tearing something else, that I don't want to mess with. All right, I've got this hole cut out completely. And you can see the old box here is held in with 2 nails. And if you look really carefully, you can see the stud down there. So I know there's a stud right here. And then on this side, I don't know if you could see it, but the box is right in there. And I can feel it, the other box. So that's good. Those wires should be able to reach over to here. All right, that's the old box out. Might be easiest to grab from the other side. So I had to make the hole a little bit bigger. It's all going to be covered, so it's not that big of a deal. And I was able to get the wires out of this clamp here. This is what was holding them in. But right above that was this fire block here. So I can absolutely pull the wires through the fire block. But now what I got to do is make a hole on the other side of the fire block and bring them down. And that should give me enough slack to get them in the box. Using a good old sledgehammer, we got the fire block out of the way, which is, where is it? I really pushed it up. There it is. So we got it out of the way. And you can see that's the hole. So that's good. The only thing is that one wire there, the one that goes down, is actually going to the outlet down below. So I pulled that outlet out, and you can see it's just a single wire. So that's going to be easy to fish a new wire. I mean, there is a wire staple there, so I think I'm going to try and take that out first and see if it is long enough. Hopefully that's not a dead mouse. No. I was able to take that wire staple out, and now I have enough room here. I don't even need to run a new wire to that outlet. These are going to be fine. These are a little short, not going to lie, but they will fit in the box completely, but I won't have the insulation in the box, which technically is a code violation. However, it's better than the alternative, which is putting some kind of a splice in the wall. That is worse. So everything is a little bit, there's definitely situations like this where you got to make a judgment call, and that's the judgment that I'm making. Now the next thing is I got to put all those wires in this box. I'm going to make these a little bit bigger just to get the wires in. Now what I'm doing here is I'm tightening these screws. These screws flip out those little tabs, and that's what grabs against the sheetrock. All right, that is good and tight. All right, so I connected the wires from this switch that was here, which is actually going to be over on the other side, but I connected those and I put them in the back because that's one circuit and I don't want to confuse them. So then I've got 5 neutral wires. I'm going to connect it to this Wago connector. That's the easiest way to do it.
All right, way in the back of the box, you can see the 5 neutrals under that big Wago connector. You can also see that big red wire nut where I connected all the grounds. There were more than 5 of them, so I twisted them together and used the wire nut like it was done before. Here you can see I've connected the dimmer that goes to the fan light. And here you can see I did a little electrician's cheat where I looped the hot wire around the switch. I just removed the insulation just a little bit and looped it around. That makes it easier. There's one less hot wire to connect under the wire nut there, that red wire nut. You can see that's the pigtails with all the hots. All right, this was tricky. I gotta tell you, getting those wires from way over here over to here. Some of them are short, I admit that. And this is the wire, this was to the switch that was over here, so those are kind of short. But listen, they're all in the box. This is all going to work out very well. All right, the power is back on, so let's give a test. So first of all, this one is the light here in the hallway. This one is that light over there. That's a 3-way switch. This one should turn on the fan, and it does. And this one should turn on the light to the fan. And that's a dimmer. Look at that. Works great. All right, now I promised you a trick because this has 2 circuits in here. I decided to write on here that you could see circuit number 10, that's on with the bedroom, and these 3 are number 12, these are on with the great room. So that way if anybody opens this up in the future, hopefully they'll know to turn both breakers off before they do any work in here. One thing I should mention is normally with an old work box, you would take these tabs off so that the switch fits tighter against the box. There's actually like a cutout there for it. But because I've got this dimmer here and there's no way to actually cut that down, I decided we would leave them all up, and then that way the switch plate won't fit tight against the wall, but at least it'll be flat. All right, here you can see the outlet plate is on and all the screws are going in the same direction. That's my OCD kicking in. Now, I know I left a bigger hole here than was here before, but this is going to be covered by a bookcase, so it doesn't matter. So if you have any questions about how to move a switch box, just leave me a comment down below. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up, and I will see you in the next one. Hey there, if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe and hit that bell icon to be the first to know when new videos are posted. Look for HandyDadTV on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and visit the website HandyDadTV for more great ideas and information.